Hello, I'm Congressman Adam Schiff with some troubling news. Today, Kevin McCarthy removed me from the House Intelligence Committee, all for doing my job, for holding Trump accountable and standing up to the extreme MAGA Republicans. We knew it would be bad when the Republicans took over, but it's far worse than we expected. But I can promise you this is not the end of my fight for our democracy. This is just the beginning. Please join us and contribute today. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, you just told us you are keeping Adam Schiff, removing him from the
Intel Committee. Is Santos on the Intel Committee? Am I allowing Schiff to be on other committees? Go right ahead.
Respectfully, thank you. Because you have direct power over who goes on the Intelligence Committee, you also will be able to raise for your full House, taking off other Democrats, perhaps Representative Omar. But you have said that lying to us is something that means you should be removed from the Intelligence Committee. But why is it not a factor?
Well, let me be very...
This is a man who should not be on committee, something you do have power over.
He's gotten elected by his district. So,
Answer my question. Why is lying?
okay, let me be very clear and respectful to you. You ask me a question. When I answer it, it's the answer to your question. You don't get to determine whether I answer your question or not, okay? In all respect. Thank you. No, let's answer her question. You just raised a question. I'm going to be very clear with you. The Intel Committee is different. You know why? Because what happens in the Intel Committee, you don't know. What happens in the Intel Committee, although the secrets are going on in the world, other members of Congress don't know. What did Adam Schiff do as the chairman of the Intel Committee? What Adam Schiff did, use his power as a chairman and lie to the American public. Even the Inspector General said it. When Devin Nunes put out a memo, he said it was false. When we had a laptop, he used it before an election to be politics and say that it was false and said it was the Russians. When he knew different, when he knew the intel, if you talk to John Radcliffe, DNI, he came out ahead of time and says there's no intel to prove that, and he used his position as chairman, knowing he has information the rest of America does not, and lied to the American public. When a whistleblower came forward, he said he did not know the individual, even though his staff had met with him and set it up. So no, he does not have a right to sit on that. But I will not be like Democrats and play politics with these, where they removed Republicans from committees and all committees. So yes, he can serve on a committee, but he will not serve on Intel, because it goes to the national security of America. And I will always put them first, all right? And if you want to talk about Swalwell, let's talk about Swalwell, because you have not had the briefing that I had. I had the briefing and Nancy Pelosi had the briefing from the FBI. The FBI never came before this Congress to tell the leadership of this Congress that Eric Swalwell had a problem with a Chinese spy until he served on Intel. So it wasn't just us who were concerned about it. The FBI was concerned about putting a member of Congress on the Intel Committee that has the rights to see things that others don't because of his knowledge and relationship with a Chinese spy. They brought it to the works of the leaders. I've got that briefing. So I do not believe he should sit on that committee. And I believe there's 200 other Democrats that can serve on that committee. So this has nothing to do with Santos. Santos is not on the Intel Committee. But you know what? Those voters elected Schiff, even though he lied. Those voters elected Swalwell, even though he lied to the American public too. So you know what? I'll respect his voters too, and they'll serve on committees, but they will not serve on a place that has national security relevance, because integrity matters to me. That's the answer to your question.
The Speaker of the House is using his power to go after his political opponents and to pick them off the field. And that's why we've chosen every step of the way to stick together. The cost are the death threats that Ms. Omar, myself, and Mr. Schiff keep getting because Mr. McCarthy continues to aim and project these smears against us. Even though we have said publicly these smears are bringing death threats, he continues to do it, which makes us believe that there's an intent behind it. But we will not be quiet. We're not going away. I think he'll regret giving all three of us more time on our hands. But at the end of the day, our mission now is to restore the credibility and integrity of this institution, of which the Speaker has so gravely smashed and destroyed.
Kevin McCarthy's purely partisan move to strip us from our committee is not only a political stunt, but also a blow to the integrity of our democratic institution and threat to our national security. If McCarthy wants to denigrate the integrity of the House and its committees, we will always stand up to these efforts.
I can assure you that if the former president or Kevin McCarthy believes that this is going to stop any of us from fighting to protect our democracy, they're going to find out that the opposite is true. It only will intensify our commitment to doing so.
It is not the accusations that McCarthy is making against us that is pushing for our removal from these committees. It is about revenge. It's about the appeasing the former president. All three of us have been a thorn in the back of the previous disgraced president. Republicans have been gunning for our seats and obviously know how effective that we have been in upholding the Constitution, in defending our democracy, in standing up to extremists, and we will continue to do that work regardless of whether we are seated on these committees or not.
A human fraud, George Santos, on committees, a serial fabricator about every part of his existence. He's perfectly comfortable with it. He needs George Santos' vote, if that's the name that he's going by these days. This is someone who, Kevin McCarthy, who owes his allegiance to a party leader in Mar-a-Lago who dines with white nationalists and anti-Semites. He's putting people on committees who speak at white nationalist rallies. The hypocrisy just grabs you by the throat. But hypocrisy is probably the least of Mr. McCarthy's sins. The most significant impact is that he is continuing this destructive trend set by his party leader of tearing down our institutions, of degrading the Congress. And you know, this new select committee that he's establishing is going to simply just bring greater discredit on the Congress. And that's our paramount concern, is what he's doing to our institutions.